The rain poured down relentlessly that Thursday evening, soaking the empty bus stop and turning the street into a river of reflections. Natalie Monroe sat hunched on the cold bench, her arms wrapped tightly around her 4-year-old daughter. Her body ached from standing all day at the diner, working another double shift that barely paid enough to survive. Her shoes were worn thin, patched with cardboard to keep the rain out. But none of that hurt as much as the folded paper inside her purse. The eviction notice, 3 days. That was all the time she had left. Natalie was only 29, but exhaustion had aged her beyond her years. Her blonde hair had slipped loose from its ponytail, and her uniform still smelled of coffee and dish soap. Beside her, Lily clutched a worn teddy bear missing one eye, the last gift from her father before he disappeared from their lives. "Mama," Lily whispered softly, looking up. "Are you crying?" Natalie wiped her cheeks quickly. "No, sweetheart," she lied gently. "It's just the rain." "But children always know." Lily pressed closer, trying to comfort her mother the only way she could. Natalie pulled her onto her lap and wrapped her thin jacket around them both. It did little to protect them from the cold October rain. The bus was late. Again, Natalie checked her phone. 2% battery. Of course, everything felt like it was falling apart at once. She thought about the rent she couldn't pay, the power bill she had postponed, again, the food bank that wouldn't open until next week, and the quiet shame of choosing every day between dignity and survival. "Mama, look," Lily said suddenly. Pointing down the street, through the curtain of rain, a man approached. He wore a dark suit, now completely soaked, and walked with urgency. He spoke sharply into his phone, frustration clear in his voice. "I don't care what the board thinks," he said. "If they won't support this, they can find another CEO." He ended the call and slowed as he reached the bus stop. His eyes landed on Natalie and Lily huddled together on the bench. He stopped. For a moment, he just stood there, rain dripping from his hair. Then something in his expression changed. "Excuse me," he said, his voice suddenly softer. Are you okay?" Natalie looked away. Experience had taught her that attention from well-dressed men rarely came without judgment. "We're fine," she said quietly, "just waiting for the bus." The man glanced down the empty street. "I'm afraid the buses stopped running this route 20 minutes ago. There was an accident." Panic tightened in Natalie's chest. A taxi was impossible. Walking in this storm with Lily wasn't an option. Lily looked up at her mother's trembling face. "Don't cry, Mommy," she whispered. Then, with the simple faith only a child possesses, Lily turned to the stranger and pointed. "Maybe that man will help us." Something softened in the man's eyes. "She's right," he said quietly. "I can help." He pulled out his phone and ordered a car. Natalie wanted to refuse. Pride was sometimes the only thing she still owned. But Lily was shivering in her arms. "Why would you do this?" Natalie asked. The man paused. "Because someone once helped me when I needed it," he said, "and I never forgot." When he ended the call, he slipped off his suit jacket and gently draped it over Lily's shoulders. It was far too big for her, nearly swallowing her small frame. "Please," he said when Natalie tried to protest. "It's just a jacket." They both knew it wasn't. "What's your name?" he asked Lily. "Lily," she said proudly. "And this is my mama, Natalie, and my bear is Mr. Buttons." The man smiled. "I'm James." Heck sat down on the wet bench, unconcerned about his ruined suit, and listened as Lily explained all about her teddy bear, how he was brave, how he protected her at night, and how missing an eye didn't stop him from being handsome. James listened, like it was the most important story in the world. Natalie watched carefully, unsure why this stranger was being so kind, until the weight she'd been carrying for months finally broke. "We're being evicted," she said quietly. James didn't interrupt. "You haven't failed," he said gently. "You're surviving." The car arrived moments later. Before Natalie left, James handed her a business card. "Call me tomorrow," he said. "I can't promise miracles, but I can promise opportunity." She hesitated, then nodded. The next day, Natalie called. 2 weeks later, she started a new job. A month later, they had a safe place to live. And months after that, something even more unexpected grew, not from money, but from kindness. Because that rainy night didn't just change Natalie and Lily's lives, it reminded everyone involved that real wealth isn't measured in success, power, or possessions, but in the moments we choose compassion over convenience. Sometimes, all it takes is stopping. Sometimes, kindness begins with listening. And sometimes, a stranger in the rain becomes the reason someone believes again.